As usual, let us start our Dhamma talk by saying Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. The title of today's Dhamma talk is Black and White Tug of War. Actually, it is the name given to Dhananjani Sutta. Here, black and white is used as a simile for defiled mind and virtuous mind respectively. One's mind is sometimes tainted with defilements and at other times wholesome and clean. That is because one cannot give thorough attention and wise consideration when the mind is exposed to sense objects. Wrongful observation for the objects create mental defilements, and correct speculation of the objects and their true nature will produce wholesome and clean mind. Defiled mind is the basic cause of unwholesome deeds, and wholesome mind is the motivating factor for all meritorious acts. Another important influencing factor is the Appamada Dharma, or mindfulness. Now let us study the Lord Buddha's admonishment of Dhananjani Sutta so as to enable us to understand the different tendencies and attitudes of one who has properly developed mindfulness and the other who has not. Over 2,500 years ago, during the time of our Lord Buddha, there lived in Rajagaha, the capital of a state in India, one Brahmin lady named Dhananjani and Bharadwaja Brahmin as husband and wife. Though the husband was the close associate of the Mecha deity ascetics, whereas the wife was the noble devotee of our Lord Buddha. One day, the husband has invited his Mecha deity associates to his house for lunch. He forewarned his wife not to utter any word of reverence for the Lord Buddha, as it was her custom to do so whenever she met any trivial mishap, lest it might irritate his guests. On the day of the feast, while they were serving the meal to those guests, the wife tripped and fell. She quickly got up, folded her hands towards the direction of our Lord Buddha's Jetavana monastery and Savatthi, and she paid obeisance by uttering Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. The moment they heard the sound of the obeisance of the host lady to the Lord Buddha, all those Mecha deity guests were greatly annoyed, and they left the house in commotion. Such form of uncivilized reaction is due to the unwise consideration of the circumstance and unmindfulness nature of the Mecha deity ascetics, having no control over their emotions. The husband, not having the heart to confront his wife, he went to Jetavana monastery and project his anger over the Lord Buddha, babbling all kinds of abusive language. Then he tried to trap our Lord Buddha with the uncertain questions and the hope of insulting and defaming on the Lord Buddha's reply. He queried thus, O Lord Karma Buddha, 1. By cutting what one can live peacefully. 2. By cutting what one can live without anxiety. And 3. Which one Dharma you Lord Karma Buddha would like to annihilate? He asked these questions with the hope of accusing the Lord Buddha as unwholesome murderer. If the Lord Buddha answered, one must kill the hateful person to live in peace. But the enlightened omniscient Buddha answered his questions with magnanimous compassion. Buddha said, O Bharadwaja Brahmin, if one is able to eradicate the anger and hatred mental defilement by vipassana bhavana or insight meditation, one can live in peace and without anxiety. All the noble persons, they always strive to annihilate the leader of noxious anger and hatred, which is poison like mental defilement. On hearing the Lord Buddha's admonishment, he overcame the influence of anger and he cooled down with a peaceful heart. He contemplated on the pleasantness and tranquility and attained the insight wisdom, thereby cleansing all the mental defilements, and he became an arhat. So, I wish you all meditators, by making use of our Lord Buddha's Appamada Dhamma, that is, Satipatthana, Vipassana Bhavana or mindfulness insight meditation, may you all be able to cleanse your mind of all the defilements and attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana, deliverance from all suffering. If no question, let me make a little bit comment on this, the talk, because to give more time for questions, we just briefly mention the discourse. Actually, this lady, Dhananjani, Brahmin lady is, I have mentioned as a noble disciple of our Lord Buddha. Noble means she has attained the first enlightenment of Sotapaddi Megaphala, and she's a Sotapanna. And on the day of their feast to their Maichaditi teachers, the husband teachers, the husband warned her, showing that sword, and those days no guns from, so this I probably he showed the sword, and you better check your mouth, means paying respect or uttering words of respect to your Karma Buddha. I am going to mince you like a meat with this sword. He showed even that. So meaning the husband is threatening her with life and death. And she didn't care. On the day when she met some slipping accident, she uttered Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddha. That is one of the attributes of Ariya Puggala or noble person, Sotapanna. So here, what the outcome is, the attributes of a Sotapanna, the first noble person who gained enlightenment as by this insight bhavana or insight mindfulness meditation. So it is worthy of note, because most of our meditators want to know whether they are progressing or not, and they often ask a question. Actual attainment of these enlightenment, nobody can know except the Buddha. And during Buddha's time, when Venerable Ananda was his attendant, when Venerable Ananda heard his some devotee died last night, he asked, "Oh Lord Buddha, last night our devotee Miss Black passed away. What is her destiny? Where is she going?" So Buddha said, "Oh, she came Sotapati Mecca and now she's in Deva world." And the next day, another person died. "Lord Buddha, this morning our devotee Mr. White died, and what is his destiny?" Then Buddha has to answer again. So Buddha said, "Ananda, if you are asking like that, one day there are many people dying in Savatthi. So it will be Dasam, and then he delivered the Dhamma-dasa Sutta. Dhamma is Dhamma, Dasa means mirror Sutta. Like a mirror is, if you go and see a mirror, you can see whether your face is clean or there are blemishes. So Buddha said, let them decide by themselves. And if these attributes, if a person possesses, you can be assured that you are a Sotapanna. Because nobody can give. I believe some unscrupulous teachers and some meditation teachers, they are saying, you are a Sotapanna, he's this thing and that thing. It is not true. And it is not proper. Nobody can know it. So Buddha said, let them decide on their own. And he gave this Dhamma-dasa discourse, mirror discourse. Out of the four attributes, the first attribute of a Sotapanna is, once one attains Sotapannahood, the first enlightenment, one will have unshakable faith. Sada, one Sada become unshakable in the Buddha. Second, unshakable faith in the Dhamma. And third, unshakable faith in the Sangha. Please remember that. Most of people who proclaim themselves as Buddhists are mostly traditional Buddhists. Because mostly it is our family tradition, and because the parents influence and parents teach from young, like our devotees bringing their children here, making them say sadhu sadhu or bowing down. They may not understand the action or these are called traditional Buddhists. Once you attain the supramundane Dhamma of Sotapati Metta, path and fruition knowledge, then your faith becomes unshakable. Even at the risk of their life. This husband, the commentary says he is a very violent and ferocious, very short-tempered, full of anger, and he meant when he did not have pretension. He seriously threatened the wife, I'm going to mince you like a meat if you utter some words of reverence to the Buddha. And she didn't care. Kill it. Kill or not is your action. I cannot say when in my mind Sada arise, I'll utter. She utter. She human. And that kind of faith, even at the risk of life, one is unshakable, and one's confidence of faith in Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, three attributes. Many people who claim Buddhists, as I said, are traditional Buddhists, is evidence. When circumstances arise, they change their faith. Like young persons falling in love, and when entangled in marriage, and they discard this Buddhism, the so-called Buddhist, and take up another religion, or some financial problems, or some problem, and they change, they easily change. And if they couldn't listen the talks, and if the person talks well, then they can change. But this kind of unshakable saddha is we call adhikama saddha. It is real and true paramatha confidence. They can never change. Commentary give example like a person is suffering from illness and he consults a physician, and when his suffering is relieved by the treatment given by that physician, he has full confidence in that physician. Even if a person said the physician treating you is not a true physician, he's a quack, he won't believe, for he is getting the benefit of relief from the suffering. So also a person who gains enlightenment, penetrating the Four Noble Truth and realizing the freedom from suffering and eternal bliss of Nibbana, become his confidence and this triple gem become unshakable. No circumstances can change him. As you all know, Buddhism is the only religion in the whole world. We don't see conversions. Buddha just taught what is truth. Dhamma means truth. If one likes it, you can take it up, he said in famous Kalama Sutta. Don't accept because a Buddha teach you, or it is traditional practice or traditional belief. You put to test. You practice and see. You apply your knowledge. You reason out. If it is beneficial, if it is for your profitable state, then accept it. If it is not, don't accept it. This is the only teaching you find, such kind of thing. Others, they try to convert by threat. Not only by threat, by bribery also. Like they incorporated their rules in this social marriages, or they support poor people by financial and material support, and they try to convert to their religion. Not in Buddhism. Buddha just talk about the truth. When he sent his disciples for Dhamma-duta, meaning to propagate Dhamma, he said, you go out for the welfare, for the prosperity, for the comfort and security of all people, and for the attainment of perpetual happiness. He said that way, not to convert them. Just teach what actions are unskillful and unwholesome, and it results in unhappiness or sorrow or pain. And what actions are skillful, wholesome, meritorious, this will give fruit with pleasure and profit. So that's how he teaches Dhamma, not for conversion, for the welfare of all beings. These threats and briberies can only sway traditional ones, but once a person attains this enlightenment and become a noble person, nothing can shake them. They are unshakable. By threat is this example of Our Lady's aspiration, Dhananjani Brahmin lady. And one cannot be swayed by bribery is the story about Sopa Buddha. His name is Sopa Buddha. He's a leper. During old days, you might have heard about leprosy. Nowadays, because of improvement in medical science, now they are well under control. Previously it is rampant, and it is not instantaneously killing, but it is debilitating, disabling, disfiguring disease. and become, when once afflicted, we become as social outcast because people got scared and loathsome because of ugly deformities and sores and ulcers that develop from this disease. So this Sopa Buddha, by the name Sopa Buddha, he was a leper and he became a destitute. He got to go begging with a walking stick, searching for food. And one day while he was on searching food, at that time Buddha was giving a discourse probably out in the open, and when he saw a group of people there, he thought that some alms dana, meaning some distribution or some offering of food or something, and he went nearby slowly because he's disabled and destitute. And when approaching near, Buddha saw him, and Buddha, by his sacrifice, then he can attain. And Buddha gave a discourse. And while listening to that discourse, probably he has past paramitas also and practice of this insight meditation. And he gained the first enlightenment, and he became a Sotapanna. And because he cannot enter the audiences also from at the edge of the audience, he listened to Buddha's teaching, and while listening, like hearing or meditating, arising and passing away of this mind and matter, and he gained the first enlightenment. And when the audience dispersed, he slowly approached towards the Buddha to report his attainment. And at that time, King Saka, I think in Hokkien they call it Angkong, from the celestial realm, was present at the Dhamma discourse. So King Saka, knowing that this Sopa Buddha is going towards the Buddha, he might be reporting, and he tried to test this Sopa Buddha by showing himself, because they are usually invisible unless they will that other people see. So he showed himself, and he said, "Hey, Sopa Buddha, you are a destitute beggar with suffering with this malignant disease, and you are in trouble and severe suffering. Now, if you say the Buddha you saw or listened his talk, that is not a true Buddha. What he is teaching is not the true Dharma, and not his disciples are not true Sangha. If you say that, I relieve you of this malignant suffering instantaneously, and you become a very beautiful man, young and healthy. And I'll shower with 7 jewelries or gems and make you the richest person on earth. If you say that, he tried to entice this Sopa Buddha just to test his saddha. And Sopa Buddha looked up the King Saka and he said, "Who are you?" King Saka, "I'm King Saka. I'm the king of celestial gods, and I have full power. I can make you rich and free from this suffering. I'm King Saka." And you know what Sopa Buddha said? "Hey, you silly Saka." He scolded Saka. "How can you say that I'm a destitute beggar? I have," what he meant is this Lokotara or supramundane or noble riches. "I have noble riches with me. How can you say that I'm a destitute beggar?" Meaning, because he attained Sotapanna, he was automatically endowed with 7 noble qualities of Saddha or confidence, Sila or moral virtue, Saddha, Sila, Sutta or knowledge, Jaga, generosity, and Panya or wisdom. Wisdom, he gained this supramundane wisdom or path and fruition knowledge of the first enlightenment. Then Hiri and Ottappa is moral shame and moral fear to do unwholesome things. Your material riches you offer are all impermanent. One day it can be lost, and one day either these riches will have to leave me or I have to leave them and follow the death. I have supreme noble treasures with me. How can you tell me call me a destitute beggar? He even scold back the Sutta. So that is the evidence. When one becomes a noble person, one's Sutta cannot be shaken by threat or by bribery. So when a person has unshakable faith, unshakable by anyone or by any means, and this Sama Sambuddha, Supreme Buddha with 9 cardinal virtues, and the Dharma is teaching with 6 cardinal virtues, and his noble Arya Sangha with 9 cardinal virtues. With these 3 attributes, one can be assured that one has attained this Sotapatti Mega and Phala and fruition, partner fruition, and become a Sotapanna. Then the 4th attribute of Sotapanna is that person, noble person, will observe 5 precepts to the letter, even at the risk of life or anything. No one can make him transgress these 5 precepts. Though it is 5, it is praised in our Buddha's teaching as Ariya Gandha Sila, meaning the noble persons, they adore, they cherish these 5 precepts. If one can observe these 5 precepts to the pristine purity without any transgression, then this is the 4th attribute. One can ascertain oneself as a Sotapanna. I can cite many examples, just one. During Buddha's time in Kausambi in India, there is a king Udena. He has 3 queens, chief queens, 3. One is Samavati, Queen Samavati, and the palace maid by the name of Khojuttara. Actually, her name is Uttara because she was a hunchback, Khoja and Uttara combined together. Her name became Khojuttara. Anyway, she was palace maid, or with the Coos language you may call it a servant to the queen. So she was assigned to given $8 to buy flower from florist shop and to give as a king's gift to the Queen Samavati. And out of that $8 she received to buy flower, she sent half $4 to her pocket for herself, and she buy only $4 worth of flower and she offered to the queen. So one day when she went to the florist shop to buy flower, at that time the florist shop owner by the name of Sumana, he's a florist, he was on that day invited Buddha and the Sangha to offer lunch fudana. And when Khojuttara came to buy, he said, "Hey Khojuttara, today we are inviting Buddha and his Sangha to offer dana. Why not you help us and listen to the motto, and afterwards you can take the flowers and go to the queen and give." So she agreed and she helped. And Buddha, as usual, after taking lunch, he gave a discourse. And while listening to this Khojuttara too, because she probably her perfections to paramita to mature, she gained enlightenment and she became a Sotapanna. So after the discourse when Buddha had left, then on that day she cannot send out the $4 as usual. So she buy all the $8 worth of flour. So the flour becomes double the amount of previous days. And when she arrived at the palace, and when she offered the flour, the queen was curious, seeing, hey, Kojotara, what today the king is so good-hearted, giving you twice the amount of money to buy flour. Why so much? And she cannot lie, because she has already become a noble person or a Sorabana. She know that, as you all know also, during these monarch kingdom days, before these democratic governments were established, the kings ruled the country by their own law, by mouth of law. There are no codes and laws. They just say by mouth and punish criminals. And they are very proud people too. And they are very violent and cruel. She knows that if she tells the truth, the queen can go to the king, or the king may find out and kill her. But she tells the truth. She cannot lie. And the first thing is she cannot steal. She bought all the $8 worth of flour. And at the palace, she cannot lie to the queen. That she admitted, the previous days I surrendered $4 from the allotment given by the king to buy for you. I buy only $4 worth of flour. So the queen said, fortunately for her, the queen too is a noble person. She's too about to gain enlightenment. She's not yet gained enlightenment. Then why today you buy all the food? She said, after listening to Buddha's Dhamma talk, I can no longer surrender your money, and that's why I bought $8 worth of flour. She replied that's a great risk during those days. Kings, they can order on the spot killer. They just kill people just as if a live flies or insects. And the queen asked her, requested her to share the Dhamma knowledge she gained from the Buddha, and just to cut short, Kojutara related this Dhamma discourse she heard from Buddha. And by listening to that talk delivered by this Kojutara, the Queen Samavati to become a Sotapanna, and if she to become a noble person. And that chief queen Magandia, bearing grudge on our Lord Buddha and having jealousy to this queen Samavati, she plotted to eliminate Samavati from this palace. So she slandered to the queen Udena by offering 3 live chickens to send to Samavati and to cook curry for the king. She purposely made it. And when Samavati refused so that the king got angry and to kill the queen, she made this strategy or the plot. Then she sent alive 3 chickens to Samavati to kill and cook for the king's feed. And Samavati refused. I cannot kill a living being. Never mind if the king wants to kill me, let him kill. But the king was reasonable. He forgave her. So these are the examples of keeping one's moral purity even at the risk of life. So these are the 4 attributes of a Sotapanna. If one can be assured that one's Sada is unshakable about Buddha, about Dhamma, about Sangha, and if one is bent to preserving pristine purity of one's moral virtue, at least these 5 precepts, Buddha said one can be assured that one has attained the first enlightenment and become a noble Sotapanna. Nibbanahood, we must practice, as we have many times repeatedly explained this introduction in Satipatthana Sutta. Ekayana is the only way. The only way is to practice this Vipassana Bhavana, or four foundations of mindfulness. Satipatthana, Vipassana Bhavana, or four foundations of mindfulness, to purify our mind and to gain this path and fruition knowledge and to realize Nibbana. The last talk I have already explained. Enlightenment means, by the word enlightened, when a person becomes enlightened by this Vipassana Bhavana or insight meditation, at the same time one achieves three profits. One is, one purify one's mind of some or all of the defilements. Then one penetrates the Four Noble Truths, and one take up Nibbana as object and realize Nibbana, bliss. So three achievements at the same time when one gains enlightenment. So to gain that enlightenment, Buddha said there is no other way. The only way to gain enlightenment or Nibbana is by practicing four foundations of mindfulness. So what are the four Buddhas? Katami Jataro. The four foundations are: one, Kaya Anupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on physical phenomena or bodily phenomena. One. Then Vedana Anupassana Satipatthana, contemplation or meditation on feelings and sensations. Then Citta Anupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on mind and mental factors. And four, Dhamma Anupassana Satipatthana, covering all physical and mental phenomena. And then too, I have many ways explain to you how to observe or how to meditate these four foundations of mindfulness. Theoretically, four foundations of mindfulness. And practical meditation, you just take up, briefly speaking, just Buddha sometimes, as I often said, when he gives discourse, he has a psychic power to survey his audience. And in his audience, if one is going to gain enlightenment by just explaining Nama and Rupa, he just see a being as Nama and Rupa. So you just take up Nama and Rupa and meditate. But if in his audience some wants to elaborate this Nama and Rupa, then he'll say five aggregates. Rupa is one aggregate, Nama he divided into four aggregates. So it becomes five aggregates. Although Rupa and Nama, Rupa is made up of gross four elements, and our last talk, and many times also I have already explained how to identify the Rupa with four Mahabhuta, four great elements, Patavi or earth element, Apo or water element, Tejo or heat element, Vaya or wind element. So Rupa aggregate, by this time you all are familiar. And what is level Nama? Nama means mental phenomena or mental aggregate. Nama too, we can differentiate into four categories, what Buddha has explained. One is Vedana. Vedana is feeling or sensation. Two is Sanya. Sanya is perception. Three is Sankhara. Sankhara is volition. And four is Vijnana or consciousness. So these are four mental aggregates. And one Rupa, it becomes five aggregates that we must take up as object and contemplate, either briefly Nama and Rupa or elaborately five aggregates. Because either this Nama and Rupa or these five aggregates we grasp or we cling to as I, my, and my atta or myself. That's why these five aggregates are called upadana khandha. Upadana means attachment or grasping. The five aggregates of grasping or attachment.